Hello again, everybody. I got more music stuff to tell you about, mostly records. And there's a couple of different places I got these records from. One was from thrifting. I do a lot of thrifting. I've done a lot of thrifting recently, so I've got some cool thrift finds to show you. Another way I got these records is through a label called Golden Robot Records in Australia. Now, recently, Golden Robot contacted me about possibly working on a release with one of the bands I work with, so they had sent me a package of record samples a week or so ago. I did a little live stream where I showed those, and I fell in love with one of those records. It was by a band called Wild Street. Anyway, I'll be showing those Golden Robot records, which showed up in this box. And so we'll be seeing those. But first, let's start with the thrift store finds that I found, because some of them are, fairly unusual, and some of them just make me laugh. Now, look at this. You hardly ever find these for $1 each, but check this out. Gary Numan 12-inch singles. Now, everybody knows Gary Numan, synth pop, new wave legend who did the song Cars and other hits. Now here's his 12-inch single called She's Got Claws. I believe this was from the early 80s. I'm not very familiar with a lot of his stuff past the first 2 or 3 albums, but I believe this is 1981 if I'm not mistaken. Maybe as late as mid-80s, but I think this is 81. Very cool to find that for $1. Here's another one called Your Fascination, Gary Numan, 12-inch single. I believe this is a UK pressing. And it's a label, and I think this is a later one. This is maybe 85 or 86, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know, but yeah, didn't have that. And here's another. I've never even seen this one. Gary Numan, Dramatis, 12-inch. And Beggar's Banquet. I believe this is UK, if I'm not mistaken. There's the label. Yeah, $1. I've never seen this. I believe this was also from the early 80s. Not quite sure, but I got to check those out. Haven't heard anything from that era of Gary Numan, at least lately. I pick this up every time I find it for cheap, and you got to know it's for the cover. Look at this, Tijuana Picnic, with the Colonel just chilling, sitting in the grass, eating a bucket of chicken by himself, while the nice family behind him totally ignores him. Like, oh, who is that guy that keeps following us around? Anyway. Pretty cool. I buy this every time I find it if it's in good shape. I don't know why. And then there's this oddity, okay? You got this picture here, and you know the style, this era, 70s, 80s maybe, where you go into the photo booth place at Kmart or Woolworths or whatever, and then the initial photo would be looking straight on, and then in the hazy background, maybe to the side or up here, there'd be a profile of the person, and it's just spooky. I don't know what they call it, but spooky stuff. So then you see all this text here on this album cover. And I'm going to read you what that text says, because that's really what caught my eye. Prophet in eclipse, dramatic messages, transition periods and dates revealed, future events unveiled, time cycles in providence, the prophetic pattern unfolding in the hour of destiny, entering the apocalyptic age, the secrets, eclipses, meteorites, comets, and falling stars explained according to the book of Revelations. A burning mountain asteroid will fall into the sea, causing catastrophe, tidal waves, and cataclysmic upheavals. It says all that right there. Then you look on the back, and what in the heck kind of UFO church is that? Look at this. So I don't know what to expect from listening to this, but I'm going to listen to it, and I'm sure it's going to be interesting. So there's that. Speaking of religious records, I got this 10-inch, The Game of Life. Now, if you zoom in here, you can see that it's the thrilling play-by-play. Yeah, it's thrilling. It's the thrilling play-by-play description of an imaginary football game between Christianity and the forces of evil. I don't know. I know what side I got my bet on, but, I'd like to see that play out. But this guy knows the answer. He knows who won. And he'll tell you if you listen to this record. Look at him. So I thought that was pretty cool. Another weird religious record. I know, I get these all the time. This guy's name is Ronald Coyne. And when God smiled on Ronald Coyne, I'll tell you what happened. It says right here, see this back cover? Got a bunch of pictures. It says right here, this record album could very well be the most unique and unusual album that was ever recorded. Can I repeat that again? This record album could very well be the most unique and unusual album that was ever recorded. There is no music on this album, but this is the personal testimony of Ronald Coyne and the Plastic Eye Miracle, recorded in a live crusade in Bloomington, California. This story begins in August 1950 at the Coyne family home in Sapaloosa, Oklahoma, when Ronald lost his eye in an accident. A short time later, the eye was removed. A plastic eye was fitted to take place of the eye which was removed. Duh. Shortly after this time, 7-year-old Ronald went to a daily vacation Bible school and gave his life to the Lord. I mean, it just takes losing an eye to find the Lord. That's not a huge price to pay, I guess. So here's his story, and God did smile upon him. And I guess that's his good eye in that shot. I'm not sure. But Ronald Coyne, we own that record now. I always buy this record because of the cover, and it's a great one. Thank You for the Dove by Mike Atkins. He's a gospel singer. But the weird thing is his power to get that bird to stand so still for that photo. Or his power at taxidermy and getting able to stuff that bird in such a way that it looks almost real and alive. So yeah, I have that one now. Now, apart from just buying stuff because it's weird, or from the 80s, I did get some other stuff. A couple of Les Baxter records. You know, he's known for his work in the exotica era genre. This is Les Baxter's Wild Guitars, which I did not have in my collection, and I do have a few Les Baxters in my collection. Great shape. I love the guitars with hands with no bodies. That's great. If there was a band with just hands playing the instruments and no bodies, that'd be cool. And then the other one is Les Baxter 101 strings Kimango, still on the shrink. Didn't have this one either in my Les Baxter collection, so a couple of cool additions for me there. Oh no, we're back to the weird religious stuff. Okay, this guy Bob Larson used to have a radio show. He was kind of a shock disc jockey. He was kind of into talking about exorcisms and the evils of rock and roll on his radio channel. And before he had a radio show, he was kind of a comedic gospel musician. And this is one of just a few records he put out. I only have a couple of his records, I believe. And anyway, he went on to do a fairly popular radio show in the late 80s, early 90s. And I remember calling his radio show a few times. And one of the times I called, he was doing a show on Slayer and how evil Slayer was, and that he was going to go on tour with Slayer just to prove to people how evil they were. And so he did all that. And I think he wrote a book on it or did a movie about it or something. And as he was talking about this on his radio program, I called him, and this is probably 1989, 1990. I called him and said, you know what, Slayer, they're not really satanic. You want a satanic band, you have to look at GWAR, G-W-A-R. Their new album, Scumdogs of the Universe, is the most satanic record in the world. And he was like, what? GWAR? What is GWAR? Nobody knows who GWAR is. Nobody cares who GWAR is. Hung up on me, right? Guess what happened 6 months later? He was on tour with GWAR, and he did a radio show about it. So, Bob Larson, eat my shorts. You took my idea and gave me no credit, you mofo. But I collect Bob Larson stuff, and I think he's a weirdo. Now, done with the thrifting records, but I did find a couple of cool CDs thrifting. I found this Depeche Mode live, which is no big deal, but I didn't have it. Found it for $0.25, Songs of Faith and Devotion. So I had to pick that up because I do love most Depeche Mode. Another CD I found was another cool Exotica CD. Martin Denny, Aphrodisia, the best of exotic, or the exotic sounds of Martin Denny, rather. I did not have this on CD yet, so had to pick that up. Now, I did go to a couple of real record stores while I was out of town recently, and one of them I went to was Lunchbox Records in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I hardly ever buy new stuff for myself, but if I do, it's typically in record stores, so I'm not dealing with shipping and risking an album getting dinged up in the post. So I found this. Now, I already have a copy of Surfboard's Friendship Music record that was graciously given to me by the band, but what I found was a different pressing. Now, I believe this was an earlier pressing. It is on blue vinyl, like the one the band gave me. However, on the back, the difference is that this one only has one record label logo right here, and then this symbol. Now, on the one that I have, there's a Fat Possum Records logo in between these two. So I believe this was just on the Cult Records label, and Fat Possum was not involved yet. But another cool addition to my surfboard collection for sure. Now, let's get on to the box that was sent to me from Australia from the great Golden Robot Records label. Now, I don't know any of the bands that they sent me. All these bands are brand new to me. And we'll start with the Vendettas. Now, the Vendettas, I was immediately attracted to the album cover art. Looks like it's going to be kind of punky with that font choice there. And show you, there's a little insert here. Well, first you can see the record and the label there, black vinyl. And you can see the insert here. Shows a bunch of rock and roll guys. Got some lyrics. And this came out in 2021. And I believe it might be their debut. I'm not quite sure. Now let me describe what this sounds like. I was hearing a lot of different things in this. Namely, I was hearing kind of like classic rock, but like the Replacements mixed in a little bit. I mean, some of it was a little punky. Some of it even sounded kind of like Southern rock, but I've got a heavy Replacements vibe. And it's not really typically the stuff I go for, but I did really like the song Stoned Ape. First song on the second side. I remember really liking that one, but yeah, I did get a kind of a heavy influence of the Replacements for some reason when I hear this. But a lot of it, it sounds just like rock and roll stuff, classic rock, slightly country rocky. But if you like that kind of stuff, this is a very well executed record. I love the cover, and I can only imagine that the shirt that you would buy at their concert would look something like this. That would be cool. So yeah, Vendettas, if you like the Replacements, a little bit of classic rock, a little tinge of Southern rock maybe a tad bit punky here and there, the Vendettas, check them out. You may like them a lot. Now, this record here, just from looking at it, I wanted to like this a whole lot. It's a little cheesy, Toxic Rose, right? I figured straight up glam, hair metal, I'm going to dig it, even if it's new stuff and not vintage stuff. The band looks like they put a little effort into how they look. They look kind of rock and roll. All right, so looking at the back cover here. So I pull it out. Let's pull it out here. It's just one record. It's got a nice little booklet, nice little sleeve, black vinyl. And I listened to the whole thing, and I gotta tell you, it's almost like if you took glam rock / hair metal, mixed it with a little like kind of pop punk emo almost production aesthetic, and then like threw in like what seems to be really cheesy like Christian lyrics or something. I don't know. Like I can't. This band has so much potential for me to love them in some ways. I mean, but they're just a little watered down, or they're just safe enough for me not to trust them so much. It just sounds a little too safe. And the lyrics, I noticed that it's on a label called Crusader. Is that a Christian label? I don't know, but I was getting a vibe of something like Angel Down, and a lot of these songs have very Christian sounding, like pro-Christian sounding lyrics, and like very tame, like I said, like It's just hard to explain. But if any of my friends out there know for sure if this is a Christian rock band or if their lyrics just happen to be really safe and kind of edge-free, I don't know. I wanted to like this more than I did. And maybe if this was a record that was instrumental with no lyrics and no vocalist, maybe I could get into it more. Maybe that's what's driving me away. I don't know. But damn it, I wanted to like Toxic Rose. Now, there's another kind of hair metal rock band on the Golden Robot label that I love called Wild Street. And they have kind of the same look, not as many spikes, more kind of a glam, but they got the hair and the makeup and everything. And they sound really cool to me. Very produced, but I loved Wild Street. Toxic Rose, not so much, but I wanted to love Toxic Rose. Maybe I'm going to play it a couple more times and see if it soaks in. But something's odd about this. I can't figure it out. Now, this band was also in the Golden Robot gift pack, and it's called the Blurters. The band is the Blurters. And this is a compilation called 12 Inches on the Slack. And I think this is all of their previous singles. I think this may be the first full-length album they put out. I believe they are from Australia, and there's a young man vomiting, and there's an Australian flag, and he looks fairly punk rock to me. Now, pink vinyl, and it's got a nice little insert in here. Boom, bam, balam, right? Actually mentions that the intro is by the great Cosmic Commander of Wrestling, which I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he was a very good friend of my friends in Anti-Scene, and he has since passed away years ago, and rest in peace, Cosmic Commander, but he's on this record. And so I listened to this record, and it's punk rock, it's oi, it's, kind of thrash, I guess you would say, but I would say it's an oi punk record, and it's really good for that. Now, I'm not a big fan of oi, I gotta tell you. I've just never been a big fan of the kind of the pub rock, punk rock, UK style, oi punk for most bands that do that. I don't know why it doesn't grab me, but this is well done. If you like that kind of stuff, I think you would dig this. I like some songs better than others, and I'm not a fan of the whole record, but good stuff on here. Well done, well executed oi music here. But I would recommend this if you're into the oi. And Australia's having really good luck with pumping out bands that people like these days. Now, last from the Golden Robot gift box was this record called Hookers and Blow, and it's on this beautiful kind of silver marbly vinyl, which I thought was cool. I didn't know what to expect from Hookers and Blow. Immediately, I thought the name was a little bit cheeseball, and I thought maybe they would sound kind of like Guns N' Roses, or I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. But what I started figuring out as I was listening to this is all cover songs. Okay, it's got like Rocks Off, Shakin', She Was Shaking, oh, you know that song, Eddie Money. The Winner Loses, Godzilla, you know that song, Godzilla. No. Okay, Time of the Season, Trampled Underfoot, Under My Thumb, come on, Stones, American Girl, everybody knows that, Ziggy Stardust by Bowie, they do that, and You Gotta Fight for Your Right to Party by the Beastie Boys. I would describe that this was interesting and fun for me to listen to, I think mainly because it was covers, and I didn't look at the track list before I put it on. I was just figuring out what the covers were along the way, and I did enjoy some of this immensely. I liked the Bowie cover. I thought that was great. I thought Godzilla was good. I don't know if I'm a fan of Hookers and Blow per se. It's kind of like a rock band. You could describe this as just rock and roll, a rock and roll band. Well executed, maybe not quite my style, but a good record. And, I tend to like some cover records. Not all of them, but like this one has a few really good ones on there, if not all. They might all be good for people who like, kind of a more standard rock sound. But Golden Robot puts out a variety of stuff, and so I appreciate them sending me these samples to get an idea of what they're all about. Totally forgot to mention these two CDs that Golden Robot Records also included. This is the band that I fell in love with the first gift package that Golden Robot sent me, Wild Street, glam rock, sleaze metal kind of stuff. Great. I have this on vinyl, and now I have this album on CD. I'm stoked about that. And this, I haven't listened to yet. Gilby Clarke. I looked him up. He's listed as hard rock. I've never heard of him, but I'm going to check this out. And thanks again, Golden Robot. And that's it for this video, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thanks for the thumbs ups on the videos, the comments on the videos. May the rock and roll gods bless you all as they blessed me, and we'll see you next time.